If you've been gardening for any amount of time, you've probably heard people say, healthy soil means healthy plants. And while that's true, there's a secret most gardeners overlook when they're thinking about soil health: the size of the worms crawling underneath. Yes, you heard that right. Bigger worms can actually mean richer soil, and there's a fascinating rice-growing secret behind this that every gardener, no matter the size of their plot, should know. Today on Soil Power, we're diving into this overlooked but powerful gardening secret. Whether you're just starting out or you've been cultivating for decades, this is going to give you fresh insight into how nature really works beneath your feet. Think about it. When we prepare our garden beds, we focus on compost, mulch, fertilizer, water, and maybe a bit of tilling, or no-till if you're ahead of the curve. But beneath all that, there's a workforce that never takes a break, never asks for a paycheck, and transforms waste into food for our plants. Worms. But here's the kicker: not all worms are equal. Smaller worms do a decent job breaking down organic matter, but when you have bigger, stronger worms, their tunnels go deeper, their castings are richer, and their impact multiplies. It's like comparing a hand shovel to a backhoe. Both dig, but one does a lot more work, a lot faster. Here's where things get practical. You don't need a rice paddy in your backyard to tap into this secret. What you do need is to create a worm-friendly environment that supports growth, not just survival. Keep the soil moist, but not waterlogged. Worms breathe through their skin, which means they need moisture to survive. Dry soil sends them packing. Keep a steady layer of mulch on top of your garden beds to lock in moisture. Feed them well. Think of worms as your underground livestock. What you feed them matters. Add organic matter regularly: kitchen scraps, grass clippings, shredded leaves, coffee grounds, or aged manure. Bigger worms come from a bigger diet. Avoid chemicals. Synthetic fertilizers and pesticides are like poison to worms. They kill off not just the worms, but the microbes worms depend on. Stick to natural amendments and let your worm population flourish. No-till practices. Every time you till, you chop up worms and destroy their tunnels. If you want bigger worms, let them build long-term homes. No-till or low-till gardening helps them multiply and grow without disturbance. Add worm diversity. Different worm species have different roles. Red wigglers stay near the surface and chew through compost. Night crawlers dive deep and build tunnels. A mix of worm types creates the conditions for some individuals to grow larger. Here's the real rice secret. Farmers often return rice straw and other crop residues back into the flooded fields after harvest. That constant, abundant organic matter is what fuels the worm explosion. In your garden, you can mimic this by never leaving your soil bare. Cover crops, chopped up garden waste, or a thick mulch layer act like that rice straw, keeping the worms fed year-round. The more you feed them, the fatter they'll get, and the richer your soil becomes. Some gardeners get discouraged when they don't see immediate results, but here's the truth. Cultivating bigger worms is a long game. In the first season, you might just notice your soil is looser, or your plants look a little healthier. By the third or fourth season, your garden transforms. Plants need fewer fertilizers, pests become less of a problem, and your yields skyrocket. When I first heard about this rice connection, I was skeptical. Worms are worms, right? But after a season of feeding my soil more deliberately, lots of mulched leaves, kitchen scraps, and cover crops, I started noticing fatter worms every time I pulled up a carrot or transplanted seedlings. The difference was undeniable. My tomatoes didn't wilt during a dry spell because their roots went deeper. My beans were greener without extra fertilizer, and my compost pile broke down faster because I had a healthy worm population in both the pile and the garden beds. A few common questions. Can I just buy bigger worms and add them to my garden? Not really. You can buy worms to jumpstart your population, but they'll only grow large if the conditions are right. It's less about buying them and more about creating the environment where they can thrive. How do I know if my worms are getting bigger? Simple. Dig around in your soil from time to time. When you start pulling up worms that make you stop and say, "Wow, that's a big one," you're on the right track. Do bigger worms ever harm plants? Nope. Unlike some pests, earthworms are always allies. Their tunnels and castings only benefit your plants. So gardeners, the takeaway is simple. If you want richer soil and stronger harvests, don't just settle for worms. Grow bigger worms. And the way to do that is by feeding your soil, protecting your underground ecosystem, and learning from the rice fields that have been thriving for centuries. It's a secret most gardeners ignore, but now you know. And once you put it into practice, you'll never look at your soil, or your worms, the same way again. At the end of the day, gardening is about partnership with nature. And worms are some of the best partners we've got. Bigger worms mean richer soil, stronger plants, and better harvests. All without the need for chemicals or backbreaking labor. So, next time you head out to the garden, remember, your real garden power is crawling just beneath the surface. Treat your worms well, and they'll transform your soil in ways you can't imagine. If you found this guide helpful and inspiring, don't forget to subscribe to Soil Power on YouTube for more secrets that take your gardening to the next level. And share this article with a fellow gardener, because everyone deserves to know the worm-powered rice secret that could change their garden forever.